Periodic meetings of Freeport's business executives bring together men of many backgrounds and skills. They represent the businesses already established in Freeport, and they are helping to shape the destiny of the most dynamic development in the Western Hemisphere today. They have seen the dream become a reality, and from this reality, the promise of a bright future. Each of these men has his own interpretation of the Freeport climate. This is Mr. William McGuinness, President of Greater Freeport Industries, who explains it this way.
Our interests are well diversified, with several millions of dollars invested in many enterprises. With such a large financial stake involved, it was an important consideration that the political climate of the country be stable. I like the stability of a license agreement too, a contract good for many years to come. That kind of stability stems from the unique origins of Freeport. And this is really something a businessman must be satisfied with and aware of before initiating his venture.
What are these unique origins Bill McGuinness is talking about? Let us hear about them from the Bahamas government's chief representative in Freeport.
I'm Anthony Knox Johnston, a government liaison officer for the Bahamas government in Freeport. 10 years ago, Grand Bahama was a backward-out island, and to encourage its development, a private company, the Grand Bahama Port Authority Limited, was granted unusual concessions within the 214 square mile area which has come to be known as Freeport. Until at least 1990, there's a contractual guarantee that no personal or corporate income tax, capital gains tax, real estate tax, or personal property tax may be assessed on the Port Authority, its licensees, or their employees. And up to the end of 2054, no excise levies or import duties are assessable on materials or equipment used by licensed Freeport businesses, although goods imported for personal use are dutiable. Here we have a unique opportunity for the development of business and industry on a very wide scale.
Yes, a contractual guarantee that the business climate will remain the same for many years to come. One of the largest investors in Freeport is the Mercantile Group, headed by its president, Mr. Gordon Mossfold, who finds the climate here pleasant for a different reason.
We were early arrivals in Freeport. Opportunity has led us into many profitable fields. Today, we are particularly excited about our growing import-export and transshipment operation. Freeport has the ideal climate for this business and is uniquely situated.
How can Freeport's unique location serve the internationally minded businessman? It becomes clear from this map that Freeport is located directly on the north-south shipping lanes which were established in Columbus's day and still remain the dominant current of shipping in the Western Hemisphere today. It also becomes clear that its nearness to the coast of Florida gives Freeport ready access to most of the U.S. markets, so that goods being imported or exported can easily reach their destination within 48 hours. To the south lies the fast-growing Caribbean area, which even now boasts a market of 80 million people. Central and South America with a combined population of over 200 million. This Latin American market alone will amount to at least 270 million by 1975, making the total market available to Freeport over 500 million people. Freeport is truly the hub of a vast trading area, an area that is rapidly growing. Mr. William Adams, president of Hemisphere Agencies Limited, an importer-exporter with worldwide operations, depends on expanding markets as well as excellent facilities. He puts it this way.
A magnificent harbor and frequent shipping. To us, good transportation is a must.
Freeport Harbor is now one of the finest in the Caribbean and is constantly being expanded. All types of cargo can be handled efficiently, and special facilities have been provided to accommodate the new roll-on, roll-off equipment. More than 20 of these vessels going to and from Florida ports, as well as regular scheduled sailings from Europe, Great Britain, Canada and New York, make Freeport one of the busiest harbors in this part of the world. Transshipment by air is efficiently handled by Freeport's busy international airport. Hourly flights to Florida's coastal cities, only 35 minutes away, provide exceptional convenience. Direct jet flights to New York, London, Canada and South America give the corporate executive the convenience he demands. Air cargo facilities, so essential to many types of industry, have expanded rapidly as more and more long-range jets connect Freeport with the principal cities of the world. In 1960, electric power capacity was only 1,500 kilowatts. But in 1964, with the opening of hotels, apartment buildings and businesses large and small, the requirements jumped to 15,000 kilowatts. A new generating plant went into operation. As construction goes forward at an accelerated pace, plans are already underway for a much larger generating plant utilizing the newest steam turbine equipment. Freeport plans for the future by keeping a full year ahead of anticipated demand. Only 6 years ago, 12 hand-cranked telephones made up the entire communication system in Freeport. Wires were strung on trees or laid across the ground, and as unreliable as the system was, it was welcome in what was still a near wilderness. As Freeport grew, it became obvious that the demand was growing faster than the system would permit. A new telephone building was completed with a capacity of 5,000 lines, enough to hold us for a while, but not for too long, since we now have over 4,000 phones in use. The future calls for 10,000 lines, and another exchange by 1967. The new telecommunications building, which was opened in 1964, has a capacity of 75 overseas telephone calls to anywhere in the world. This latest in radio equipment, employing the forward scatter system, brings the world next door to Freeport and is a miracle of communication compared to the one-channel radio system, the only link just a few years ago. Now, all this expansion of facilities didn't just happen. It is planned expansion through a planning board that is even now working 5 to 10 years ahead. Our schools, so important to the present, mean even more to our future. Our hospital, staffed by some of the finest doctors in this part of the world, is constantly expanding to ensure the best medical care for the people of Freeport. In Freeport, planning has special significance, and the firm of Harlan Bartholomew, one of the most respected and experienced in the town planning field, has been the Port Authority's consultant. These men have the responsibility of feeling the pulse of Freeport and planning for the future. Which way must the city grow to best serve the needs of its people and its industry? What will be the minimum standard for hotels and apartment houses so that the planned character of Freeport will be a reality? From the plan to the construction to the fact. Unlike some so-called island paradises, Freeport is naturally blessed with an abundant water supply, enough to meet the requirements of 500,000 people. But part of the job of a diligent planning board is to be sure that there never will be a shortage. Water reservoirs have already been designed in a long-range plan of supply. There is a building boom on this tropical island in the Bahamas. The nearness of supplies and the absence of customs duties keep the costs down. There are adequate sources of unskilled and semi-skilled labor on Grand Bahama Island. Mr. Henry Tobiash, whose company has been involved in construction in Freeport during the past few years of growth, has this to say.
We needed to build quickly and inexpensively, especially in the early days. This meant training local labor because we could not afford to import it. We are more than happy with the results. For key personnel and skilled workers we cannot get locally, the Hawkesbury Creek Act permits virtually unrestricted immigration.
Yes, Freeport is attracting businesses of all kinds. One of the world's largest and most successful ship's bunkering stations was established here many years ago and is serving ships from all over the world with tax-free fuel and supplies. These huge vessels tie up to offshore moorings to refuel through underwater pipelines, a great saving in both time and money. Syntex, the internationally known drug firm, is establishing a research center here and a large plant for the manufacture and distribution of drugs to the markets of the world. 1965 marked the official opening of the huge Bahama Cement Company in the presence of His Excellency the Governor and the Premier of the Bahamas. There were speeches, of course, to commemorate the occasion. Mr. Roger Blau, Chairman of United States Steel, the parent company. Mr. Groves, founder of Freeport. Mr. James Jenks, President of Bahama Cement Company. Mr. Jenks told this distinguished audience some of the reasons the company is glad to be here.
Yes, we are glad to be here, and for many reasons. Building this cement plant was a major undertaking for our company, and the decision to locate it in Freeport was based on several favorable considerations. The main reason we chose Freeport was, of course, the practically inexhaustible supply of our principal raw material, limestone. Every cubic yard of limestone we dredge from the harbor is being stockpiled for eventual use. And when dredging operations finally are completed, we have hundreds of acres of high-quality limestone on the plant site itself. The other raw materials we use in our cement-making process are also readily accessible, thanks to the Freeport deep water harbor and our own dock facilities. Ocean-going barges and other bulk carriers bring silica sand, gypsum, bauxite, and other materials right to our front door. When we are ready to ship finished cement, the same harbor and dock facilities permit us to load a specially equipped vessel for rapid shipment to customers throughout our marketing area. Accessible raw materials and markets, plus enthusiastic employees, are some of the reasons why we're here. There are other reasons, of course. Near the top of the list is the climate. We all like the year-round warm weather and the places available for enjoying it. Our children are pretty happy about Freeport, too. They don't have to be bundled into snow boots, heavy coats, and mufflers before starting for school, for example. From just about any angle, we're glad to be here.
Yes, the Freeport climate is right for a variety of industries from cement production to tourism. Here is Mr. Reginald Nefska of Holiday Inns International.
We put our largest unit here because we saw dynamic growth ahead. The tourist industry thrives in this kind of climate.
Love and sunshine gives you pleasure that you never had before. Out on a tropic island, on a gay vacation, in Freeport in the sunlight. Down.
Freeport's dynamic growth, healthy business climate, and freedom to develop are stimulants to many types of enterprise. A unique combination of geographical location, transportation facilities, living and working conditions, and contractually guaranteed governmental concessions are helping these industries to prosper in Freeport. Here is Mr. Wallace Groves, the founder of Freeport.
The Grand Bahama Port Authority came into being with the signing of the Hawksbill Creek Act. The role we play as the guiding hand in Freeport's destiny lies mainly in assessing the community's needs and in finding ways and people and businesses and funds to fill those needs. We are proud of what we have done here, but we are far more interested in the task ahead. Freeport is just getting started, and the future looks very bright indeed.
No one can predict how high they will go, but the goals for men of vision are higher than most. The Grand Bahama Port Authority invites you to share in our bright future, the Freeport of tomorrow.